Hello, everyone, and welcome to Allianz Joy. Very glad to see you today. And if you're watching the replay, I am very glad you're doing so. I want to invite you to this episode and join in with me and join into the conversation about anger, right? We're going to talk a little bit about anger today, where this comes from, how you can see symptoms of anger and resentment, and how unhealthy is that for you, right? It is not good to harvest and harbor those feelings, and it's also just not good for partnerships and not good for relationships and not good for career and work, and at a job it is just overall a very unhealthy situation. I am Elian Haan, and I am a life coach by trade and have my practice here and work with people all over, virtual and in person. And I help people through anger and through resentment. And there are several techniques and several ways we can do that, right? So I'd like to explain it a little bit to you today and kind of help you along or on the road, right, alongside the way to see if you're actually harboring just a lot of resentment or anger. I can tell you that I relate to it. I had definitely the symptoms of anger and resentment in the past, didn't really know what to do with it, and did not ask for help. And to ask for help and to get with a coach or get with a mental health specialist is very important. And as a life coach, we can help you definitely with certain ways to get you out of this, certain techniques to get you out of this feeling, get you a little bit ahead and to move forward, right? Because it's always really important what we want to do. We just want to move forwards and get out of this situation, whatever is going on. If you're in this situation, whatever is going on, whatever you're feeling, it makes you definitely constantly grumpy, right? That's one of the things that you feel, that you're just constantly grumpy. You might be name calling, you might have a temper, you might be argumentative, you have no patience, you are irritated about a lot of things. And you feel that you are constantly arguing. If all these things are happening to you, and you feel that that's the just a daily mode, right? Or so maybe somebody with you or somebody that you live with is in that state of mind, is really into that anger state of mind. Then we just have to really try to find out why or ask why and how we can help and what we can do about it. And if you are not suffering from anything, then this is still a great episode for you, because you might know somebody else that suffers from that anger or suffers from that constant irritability, or is belittling all the time or irritated all the time, or again is just right, not really there, not in the moment, you just they're not really home. And if you feel that that is the case, then and you can't reach, then reach out and start a conversation with them, or reach out for help if it's for yourself or for a loved one. So definitely there are so much things that we can do when it comes to dealing with anger and dealing with resentment. Is one of the basic human conditions. It's just as simple as sadness or anxiety or happiness on the other side, right? It is just a human condition, but we have to find out why it happens, because holding on and holding a grudge and holding on to long time anger is very, very unhealthy. It is really one of those fight, flight, or freeze systems that is a response in our nervous system, right? And we can just kind of stick into it and not be able to feel different the next day and over time. That is a really unhealthy thing. That is a mindset, right? It is just going on. Something is going on in your mind, in your thinking. You're constantly feeling that it is bringing on that irritability, that is bringing on that resentment. And if that lasts for a long time, then of course, like I always talk about, it is also having effects on your body, right? It is just frequently mobilized and just can really just affect relationships and the people around you. So let's a little bit see how we are in that state of mind, in that angry state of mind, what it actually can lead to. So if we're holding on to that anger and resentment, how unhealthy is that over the long time? When we are holding on to those negative emotions, we can definitely, in the first place, start to suffer from stress and anxiety. And stress is just really kind of like the daily stuff, and anxiety is more worried about what's going to happen next. But those are really going well together, right? So if we're feeling constantly that stressed out feeling, the symptoms are physical, right? You can't breathe, you're sweating a lot, you're just feeling anxious, you're feeling that you have to hurry all the time. Your body is in a state of nervousness, is in a state of hyperventilation sometimes. And all these symptoms are the physical symptoms of feeling that anxiety or feeling that stress. Your body is just producing stress hormones like crazy, and that just causes more and more anxiety. So it's really difficult to feel that in the beginning. You're not really aware of it in the beginning. But if that lasts for a long time, then you definitely have more of a chronic, a long-term anxiety state of mind, right? Anxious state of mind. And we can do something about that. We just sometimes have to find out what it is, where it's coming from, and then how can we move forward with it. Another thing that it can really lead to is depression. And that is a long, long, long state of mind in a deep, dark place, right? It's a lot of negative thinking. We're holding on to negative emotions for really an extended period of time. And those feelings contribute to all that depression. You feel that you can't get out of it. You feel that nobody cares about you or about the situation or about how you feel. And it can be long term really challenging to break out of that. I have a lot of clients that are in that state of anxiety and depression, and we're both trying to find a way forward, how to move out of these feelings that we're holding on to, that can be not just resentment or anger, that can be also grief and pain, right? And there's a lot of trauma involved, of course. But there is ways, there are techniques that we can move beyond that, because it's not always a lifetime disaster state, right? We don't have to always stick into it, but we need help. And just like everybody else, we sometimes need to talk to somebody else and discuss it and find help in in a therapeutic way, in a therapy way, or with a mental health professional, or sometimes with, like myself, a life coach to move forward and beyond. And it's definitely possible. There's also always relationship problems. And I had a really difficult time years ago, decades ago, holding on to anger and holding on to resentments because, or feeling angry, I should say, and feeling resentful because there were things missing in my life that I wanted and they were not there. And I did not know how to solve that. I just knew that because I didn't have that feedback, I didn't have the parents, I didn't have the support system, I didn't have my parents, I should say. I didn't have support system. I didn't have the loved ones that I felt supported by, that I really didn't know how to move forward. And all I did was going and dive deeper and deeper in a situation of negative thinking. I will never have this. I will never be able. I won't be able to get the help. Nobody will be able to reach out. Nobody will see me. Nobody understands, right? And all these no, 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 and never, 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 and I will not, I have not thinking phrases um, will just lead definitely to a or deeper negative state of mind. It's almost like this negative thinking constant that you cannot get out of. You can't lift yourself out of the state of mind, and it's just constantly, it's really a little bit about me, but you can't really see the good things, right, about me. It's a really negative, and it's really relating to your happiness and your feelings of peace, because nobody is filling those gaps. And not reaching out is not a good thing in this particular case. For me, it led to more disengagement, more loneliness, more feelings of disattachment, or just being, just being on my own uh, with the feelings and not really knowing where to place them. So ultimately, that is physically also a really, really bad state of mind. Really physical. There's a lot of physical symptoms that can be related to holding on to all that aggression and all that irritation. And there's definitely, of course, the relationship problems that come with me or come with it, right? Because you can't be constantly, constantly around somebody that is maybe the cause of these feelings, or is maybe just a very happy and a very joyful person. And that might also just work not right, not for you, right? So that leads to more irritability because you don't know where it comes from. It leads to more resentment and anger. You're just not able to really recognize or place these feelings. Again, what you feel is you're grumpy. You're just not there. You have a temper. You're constantly arguing. You're constantly argumentative. You find something to be angry about. You find things to be resentful about. And it goes on and on and on, so that you really get into that deep state, anxiety, depression, and just not a good relationship with others, right? It might be sometimes related to work. I relate to that as well. If you're not happy anymore, then we need to try to find out why, where you can put that, and what you can do about that. And then, of course, there's just those studies, right? And hold on. If you're holding on, the physical release of that anger and that irritation, it's really bad for your health. And it's really, there's a lot of tests on that. It just, increased heart disease, increased heart disease and high blood pressure are definitely some symptoms that are related to holding on to anger and irritability and a lot of digestive issues. You wouldn't think that, but that's definitely related to holding on to emotions that we can't let go and that are not healthy for you. So overall, it can have a very negative effect on so many things around you. But of course, the very first thing is you, and we don't want that for you. We want to be able to move forward and we want to be able to find out what it is that we can do for it, right? Now, we cannot always really in the moment establish why we are feeling like that. And sometimes we can apply the techniques, even if we don't really know what it is, that make us feel better. And some of these techniques are definitely practicing mindfulness. Definitely. Just coming to a moment, taking a break, stopping of what you're doing. And if you're feeling it, then just sitting in meditation or doing some mindfulness practice techniques. That could be deep breathing, that could be outside in nature, taking a walk and taking it all in, observing in a very alert, in a very aware state of mind, observing what you see and just kind of feeling a little bit calmer, maybe because you see it, or a little bit more relaxed because you see the things around you that are not so bad, right? If the sun is shining, you definitely need to get outside and just sit and just enjoy the warmth, the feeling, the sun rays. That is all part of your mindfulness practice. And mindfulness practice can definitely help you become aware of these thoughts and these emotions as well, because you're starting to feel a little bit different. And so then you recognize the difference between feeling in a happier place and feeling that anger that you had before. So it makes you more aware. The second thing that I'm a big fan of, you know that because Miss Exercise here, Miss Fitness, right? We are always referring back to exercise. We are always falling back on exercise. If you are just feeling loaded with the emotions of irritation and anger, then if you're taking that out on, on a tree, you go box outside a little bit, right? And in case you have a boxing, ball there. But if you're having, uh, if you just kick a tree for a little bit, or you just kind of hit outside a tree a little bit, it's good for you. It's good for you. It's releasing all that stress and all that pain that you're holding on to inside your body physically, and you got to get that out. So that's a very good way of doing so. There might be just a lot of things, right? Walking, running, and maybe just taking a high cardio sweat class on a bicycle, maybe, so that you can just sweat it all out and let it go, and definitely feel just a little bit more relieved afterwards. Another thing that you can definitely do with a coach like myself is practice forgiveness. You can practice forgiveness. And you can practice that into a meditation, into a meditative state of mind. We call that a metta meditation, where you can do repetitive mantras or, words towards things that you were holding on to, or towards resentment and things that irritate you, and trying to come to a loving kindness place, a place where you forgive more, a place where you understand maybe others and where they came from, or where it all came from, what it all started, right? You're better and able to see that the people that you are with are maybe just reacting from a different place or maybe a different background. And if you start seeing that, and you can come to that loving, understanding, mindful place, metta place, loving kindness, then you can practice forgiveness. And you can see that people are not always um, doing this to you, right? You can let go of taking things personal a little bit. And if this is with another person in a relationship, maybe in a relationship or at work or a partnership or a friendship, if this is going on, then and you start taking things personal, and that's why you react with anger or resentment, it might not even be the case that that was meant to be personal. So we always have to really, really kind of dig deep and go back to those spaces of where we're holding that. What was the cause? Why was I feeling so sad and so upset? Right? It's really important to start feeling that and coming to a place of calm. It's really important. And again, because of that, you should take a break. All right, when you're feeling that, instead of saying something that you didn't want to say, or being irritable, or just just have no patience with others, right? That's also one of these states of anger and irritability. If you feel all that and you just don't have it, if you don't have anything nice to say, they say don't say anything at all. So at that moment, take a break and walk away. Take a break and walk away. And again, going to exercise or going to practice some deep breathing techniques, or going to sit for a little bit somewhere else and stare and come to a place of calm, that can help you in the moment. Then you can return to the situation and assess it a little bit different, right? And respond different. So no overreaction, but a thoughtful response is really important. Not overreacting and like, here we go again, and you always, or, I can't handle this, or it's always the same. I will never be understood. Instead of going there, just take a break away from it and then try to come back with a more thoughtful response that will open communication, right? That's really important, that we are going to open communication. And that is so important to our health as well. If you're a better communicator, and I definitely know that because that's what I do. I work a lot on communication with my clients. If you're a better communicator, there's always a better outcome. There's always solutions. And right, well, not always. I mean, some people just don't want to hear it. Right? And then it stops right there. Like you cannot do anything about that. If people are not open to that communication, or if people are not open to understanding where you are at, then um, let go, right? And we just have to let go. So one of the things that can really help, and why a life coach can really help with anger and resentment, is to recognize that and to find ways to move forward. So in the first place, indeed, why can we help? We can find the root cause of that anger and of that irritation, of that no patience, of that resentment, of that name calling, that grumpy state of mind that almost led to constant anxiety, constant feelings of depression. We can find the root cause. We can find that together. Right? You have to dig, and you have to be honest. You have to be honest to yourself to release the pain that you're going through, and even the physical pain that you might be going through. You have to be honest and come to that place of truth in order to address it. And if we're honest and we come into a place of truth, both ways, right? I'm known for my coach approach, so I'm going to give it straightforward to you as well. Then we can open that communication and find solutions together. If you are understanding that and kind of finding the cause and find the root, then from there we can move forward, right? We can manage these emotions better and find techniques. So that is number two, we can develop together coping mechanisms. And I just called out a whole bunch of them, right? Deep breathing, visualization. Sometimes it is cognitive restructuring, right? That means that I'll help you go from constant negative thinking to, to positive thinking. Instead of thinking, I will never have that, knowing that, if I do the work, it will definitely be there for me. So that's very important, right? We work on problem solving. We work on radical acceptance and better communication techniques or skills. So for that matter, that is all coping skill, all coping mechanisms that we can work on, right? Whatever works for you, there's always one or two. Sometimes it's journaling. Sometimes it's just listening to music and doing a lot of meditation techniques. Sometimes it's finding your spirit, your higher self, your universe, your God, the person that gives, or the person or the feeling that gives you faith, right? For me, God is a person, so right, got to talk to you. But sometimes it's that place of faith and hope that we need to come to together. So that is very, very important to develop those mechanisms and moving forwards out of that negative state of mind into a more positive, happy, I can do it, problem solving state of mind. Then we can definitely work on communication skills. And that is always so important. It is important to move towards somebody from a place of understanding. If this is in your relationship, your marriage, your partnership, your friendships, at work with coworkers, if there is a place of mutual understanding and harmony, we can better communicate. We can better develop those skills to come towards each other. I can say, I love you so much, and I really want you to understand how I feel. And then from that point of view, try to communicate what it is that I feel and why I feel like that, and then slowly come with responses towards each other instead of our reactions, right? So to slow down, calm down, and find ways to communicate it to each other. And then the last thing that I always love to do, of course, is through all this, is setting goals. It is so important that we are just really clear on our goals and the daily action steps that we have to to embrace to be able to move forwards, right? So if my goal is that I have once a week, or that I have in the end, let's say my goal is in 2 months, I want to have a really better understanding in my relationship with both of us, right? To what's going on and why, where our needs are and why we maybe are not doing well at the moment with those needs, or maybe they are there where we feel we're going different paths. Is this is all the case with you? Then you can recognize that and say as a goal, in 2 months, I want to be way further ahead with this together. I really want to work on that. I really know that we love each other, but we want to get some of these things out of the way. And in 2 months, this is going to be a lot better. And now, the short steps, the action steps that we can take is, for instance, every week, we're going to make quality time for each other. And we're going to go out for dinner and discuss these things. How can we move forwards and not stand still in this place of resentment and irritation because of, right? We want to find the cause or find the root and then find those communication skills towards ourselves and towards others to come towards a better place together. It's definitely worth it because I know I have seen so many results and so many amazing places of uh, um, progress, right? And progress with my clients and with people that are feeling that they're in a better place when it comes to addressing these emotions. Finding a word for your emotions is really important. And there are many, many emotion columns and wheels and drawings out there and things that you can find about it. But it is important to find sometimes different words. That is some things I do with my clients, right? Find different words to describe it. What is it that you're feeling and find different words for it? Just like I did with the word anger, right? I'm grumpy, I'm irritable, I have no patience, I am just constantly, mad at others, name calling, I don't like anything, I'm shut down, I'm locking myself up. All these things, all these emotions, you can try to name and feel and address. And so that's really important. So if you're needing a little help, please always reach out. Please always address for a shorter amount of time or for a longer amount of time. Address your anxiety and your depression. Address your anger. Find out where it comes from. And if you cannot do that by yourself, please reach out. Please reach out to me. Please let me know how I can help. You can find me definitely on elianhaan.com on my website. You can find me on Linktree, Elian Haan. Definite ways there to get a free little conversation started, right? A free call with me to reach out and say, hey, I just want to talk about it. What can you do? So please do so. Find me, and otherwise watch next week again. We always have great topics to discuss. Come back with responses. Let me know your stories. Thank you so much for watching today, for watching Elian's Joy on Win Win Women TV, on the other networks, or the replay, or my YouTube channel. Thank you so much. Love you. I'll see you next week.